Hey, what's up guys? This is Ray and welcome to Asian Filmist. And I just want to say Happy New Year! It is now 2018 and that means a whole new year of movies to look forward to. Now, most recently I just made a video showcasing my favorite films from Japan of 2017. So today I want to talk about my favorite Japanese, not my favorite, my most anticipated Japanese films of 2018. Now I have to admit, just looking at the schedule for all the films that have been announced thus far for 2018, it was really hard to come up with a list of only 10 films. So what I decided to do with this list is I cut out any sequels that are scheduled to come out this year. So that means the new Gintama movie, the new Godzilla anime, and the new Chihayafuru, amongst a bunch of others which I really want to watch. So this list is going to be focused on films which are not part of an existing film series. And last, the movies in this list aren't arranged by the order or level of anticipation. I'm kind of anticipating all these films relatively equally. I mean, some more than others, obviously, but I'm not going to introduce the movies in this list as part of a ranking system. Just putting it all out there. And so that being said, let's get on with the list. First off, at number 10, the first movie I want to talk about that I'm looking forward to is a live-action adaptation of Bleach. Now, usually live-action adaptations of anime and manga are kind of like, I'm not really all that excited for the majority of them. I mean, first off, I'd say the majority of movies that come out in theaters in Japan are adaptations of anime and manga, so you have to be selective. But what really attracted me to Bleach is the director Sato Shinsuke, who directed I Am a Hero, Gantz, Death Note, Light Up the New World, and also the main star Fukushi Sota. Two names who I would definitely flock to the movie theater to watch. The basic story of Bleach is about this high school boy who gets caught up with the battles of death gods in the death god world, and he kind of brings his friends along for the ride. And it's a very popular shonen anime and manga. I was a fan of this series when it first came out, but after the first few arcs I kind of just lost interest. But I'm definitely looking forward to what the two names that are behind this, the director and the main actor, what they could bring to the table. And so next off, at number 9, is a live-action adaptation of another anime manga called Inuyashiki, and this one is also directed by Sato Shinsuke. So it looks like he's releasing 2 movies this year. Now I admit, I haven't read the original work, but it seems pretty cool. It's essentially about this elderly dude who gets struck by an explosion, and it grants him with these superhuman powers and I guess a cybernetic body of sorts, and he decides to use these newfound powers for good. But then he meets this other dude who was also struck by the same explosion and has also received superhuman powers, and it's essentially the typical good versus bad. And on the surface, I don't know, it seems like a typical cookie cutter manga adaptation. But another name that attracted me is Sato Takeru, who's going to play the villain in this movie. I'm a fan of Sato Takeru, especially if you've seen Rurouni Kenshin. He was the titular Kenshin. Kamen Rider Den-O, if you guys don't know, I'm a big Kamen Rider fan. I enjoy seeing the actors that started off as one of those writers grow and to become some big stars. So after a pretty decent track record with Sato Shinsuke, I think it's safe to say that I'm excited to give Inuyashiki a try. Next off, at number 8, is another live-action adaptation, and that is of Boys on the Slope. This movie is directed by Miki Takahiro, who's kind of like the go-to director when it comes to directing romantic movies or shoujo manga adaptations. I've seen a lot of his movies, and they're not bad if you know what you're getting yourself into. Now, Boys on the Slope, on its own, its premise isn't really exactly something I would say it's something I would be looking forward to. However, what attracts me is the location its source material is located in, and that is in Sasebo, Nagasaki Prefecture, which is basically my hometown here in Japan. And one thing that Sasebo City has kind of a big subculture in is jazz music, and that is what this story centers on. It's about this high school kid who moves to Sasebo, and then he in order to impress a girl, he decides to take up jazz. And so next up, at number 7, is The Blood of Wolves. It's directed by Shiraishi Kazuya, who is the director of one of my favorite Japanese movies of 2017, and that was Birds Words Without Names. And here he comes back with this, what looks like to be a gangster Yakuza movie. And I'm all about those kinds of movies, especially with the lead actors scheduled to be in this movie, and that is Yakusho Koji and Matsuzaka Tori. Now, I don't know much about the story of this movie, other than it looks to be a good old-fashioned Yakuza crime movie featuring some actors whom I really enjoy watching, and I'm all about that. And next up at number 6 is another movie by Shiraishi Kazuya. It looks like he's going to be releasing 2 movies this year as well, similar to Sato Shinsuke as previously mentioned. And the movie that is next on my list is called Sunny 32, and it stars Pierre Taki and Lily Frankie, 2 older guys who I enjoy watching too. But the premise of this movie seems really interesting. It's a thriller about these 2 guys who kidnap this young girl, or this young woman, and apparently in the past she used to be some kind of internet idol, but these 2 guys are huge fans of this idol, so they decide to kidnap her out of love. And judging from the trailers, it looks like partway through the story she decides to exact her revenge on these guys for committing these crimes against her, and it looks pretty insane. And so the next movie at number 5 is the live action adaptation of the manga Impossibility Defense, and it's directed by another Shiraishi, but it's Shiraishi Koji, the director of such fun horror movies such as Noroi the Curse and Sadako vs. Kayako. Now this movie, it's not a horror movie, it looks to be a crime thriller with a twist of supernatural elements tossed into it. It stars Matsuzaka Tori and Sawajiri Erika, and Matsuzaka Tori in this movie, he is a hitman for hire, and the ones that hire him are usually guys who are bent on vengeance or who are just overcome by hate. And the way he carries out his hits, he carries them out by using hypnosis. And just judging by the trailers, it looks like a fun cat and mouse story with, of course, a high body count. Next up at number 4 is a movie by the name of Colors of the Wind, and it's directed by Kook Jae-yeon, a South Korean director who has a few films that are produced in Japan, but mostly his work is done in Korea. And you guys might know his Korean films, you know, My Sassy Girl, Windstruck, Time Renegades, and his Japanese movies involve My Girlfriend is a Cyborg, and that one was okay, but I really enjoy his Korean filmography, and I'm definitely down to watch this one. It looks like to be a romantic story, but with a little bit of a twist, as one would expect from a Kook Jae-yeon movie. And this movie is about a guy who's played by Furukawa Yuki, and one day his girlfriend dies, but before she dies, she tells him that somewhere in Hokkaido there is a girl who looks much like her, and so he goes to Hokkaido to find this girl, only to he finds the girl, but then she tells him that he looks like her former boyfriend. It's kind of weird and wacky, and both sets of lookalikes are played by the same respective actors. But I'm definitely looking for a movie that would pull at my heartstrings, similar to the way that My Sassy Girl did back in the day. Granted, I'm almost 100% certain it will not be this. It won't have the same effect, but hey, one can only hope. And so next up at number 3, I was kind of wary about putting this movie on my list just because of the director, because he's been kind of a hit or miss throughout the years. And this next movie is called Laplace's Witch, and is directed by Miike Takashi. Now this movie stars Sakurai Sho, Hirose Suzu, and Fukushi Sota, 3 promising actors. And it looks like to be a crime thriller about this woman who claims to be a witch and who can foresee when certain natural phenomenon would occur and would cause lots of people to die. And Sakurai Sho, I think he plays some kind of investigator, and he's investigating her case and trying to see if what she's saying is the truth. Now, I'll be honest, I don't expect a great movie from this just because it's a Miike movie, but I'm expecting a movie that has a lot of Miike-isms, of which I do enjoy, no matter how bad or how good his movies are. So yeah, I'm definitely going to watch this in the cinema. Next up at number 2, it's a remake of a Korean movie, one of which I hold dear in my heart, and that is the remake of Sunny. Now this remake of Sunny is directed by One Hitoshi. He is the director of Bakuman and Scoop, 2 two movies which were absolutely amazing. If you haven't seen those, you should definitely watch them. But this remake stars Shinohara Ryoko and Hirose Suzu. And what made the Korean version so entertaining is that it dips a lot into old kind of nostalgic Korean pop culture and plays around with it, and it brings to us a really entertaining story. And now I'm hoping that the Japanese version can do the same thing but dive into Japanese nostalgia. And so last, at number one, admittedly, I'm actually looking forward to this movie a lot more than anything else I mentioned on this list. And the name of the movie is Mirai of Tomorrow, and it's an anime movie directed by Hosoda Mamoru. You might know Hosoda from movies such as Summer Wars, The Girl Who Leapt Through Time, The Boy and the Beast, Wolf Children. And I don't know about you, but for me, his movies have steadily gotten better and better. You know, The Girl Who Leapt Through Time, it was alright, but then the Boy and the Beast was phenomenal. So I'm hoping that Hosoda follows through with this pattern, and I'm hoping that Mirai of Tomorrow just blows my mind. And what I like about Hosoda's movies is that he focuses his narrative on relationships between his characters. For example, Wolf Children focused on the relationship between mother and kids. The Boy and the Beast focused on the relationship between a fatherly figure and a son. And it looks like Mirai of the future is going to focus on the relationship between a brother and a sister. As the story goes, the sister Mirai comes from the future to visit her brother, who's kind of a pain in the ass, and so the story is about how they grow together and learn how to bond as siblings. And so definitely looking forward to this movie. And there it goes. Those are my 10 most anticipated Japanese movies of 2018. What are some movies that you're looking forward to this year? Let me know in the comment section below. Don't forget to leave a like on this video and subscribe to Asian Filmist to join in more discussions and reviews of Asian films. You can follow Asian Filmist on Facebook and Twitter, and by all means follow me on my personal Twitter at Raymaru555, and we can talk more about Asian films there. And as always everyone, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you all in the next video. Take it easy guys.